This is my review of My Hero Academia, Chapter 240, Power, and you just gotta love the League of Villains did here. I mean, I had this whole thing in mind for quite a while now that once everything was said and done, the news report about how the League of Villains demolished an entire town, killed hundreds and hundreds of people, blah, 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 blah. Nope, they went a whole separate way. Instead, the destruction of Daika City was blamed on a group of 20 young villains who came into the town and went on a rampage after tricking the heroes into leaving, with the citizens bravely standing up with their own quirks and hands and fighting off these villains as best they could. I mean, that's literally the smartest thing they could do. I mean, they're literally making a case for why quirks should be legalized, why people should be allowed to use them in self-defense to protect themselves. And of course, just gotta love the work of the Liberation Army to put together this fake footage so quickly. Anyway, then we move back to the actual League of Villains, and they're having sushi, just like they said they do once they had some money. And Twice has somehow gone even more insane, praying at the memorial for Toga, even though she's still alive. Yeah, as it turns out, forced shock therapy doesn't always work as you like. Sometimes it just makes things much, much worse. In the case where Twice can now use his quirk, but he's got like 10 different voices in his head. They're all fighting for control every minute of the day, even with his mask on. So problematic, yeah. I'm almost afraid to see what happens if they actually take his mask off. So then we see the more of the Liberation Army, and Skeptic is certainly not happy with how things have turned out. He's doesn't like the League of Villains. He doesn't think they should be in command, but as Trumpet reminds him, the Grand Commander, or just Redestro as is now, chose them, and any order from him is essentially an order from Destro, their chosen god. So not much they can do except worship him and do whatever the hell he says. Which you just gotta love. I mean, here we see, so they move to the secret underground giant amphitheater that every big mansion has, as we all know. And there are hundreds of Liberation warriors present as Redestro welcomes them to the day that the Liberation Army is reborn. And Shigaraki looks bored, commenting that the jacket he has is too prickly. Also, I'm just now noticing they replaced like half his left hand. I didn't notice this the first time I watched this, but yeah, that's definitely a prosthetic hand right there. I assumed they would find a way, they had someone in their army somewhere who could like regrow limbs or something, although that is, I guess, a step beyond anything we've seen up to this point. I mean, if someone had the ability to, regrow limbs or organs or whatever, All Might wouldn't, be in the sorry state he was in for so long. He could have just found someone to heal him. That does seem to be something the series just isn't offering. Like, nope, that's a step too far. We can have guys make millions and millions and millions of copies of himself, but you can't regenerate limbs. Are you crazy? Oh, speaking of his hands, by the way, he still has one left. Apparently, one of the hands somehow managed to survive all the destruction and rampage and what have it, and he's still wearing it on his face, though as he says, it's only decoration. It doesn't have the same purpose it once did. It's just because it makes him look cool. So this does actually mean my theory might still be true, where I said that Eri would end up touching the hand and bringing back the person associated with it. Again, so many problems with that, because just the whole thing about how they can't, regrow organs, but I'm saying here and now they're going to bring back a dead person who's been dead for like 20 years from their severed hand. So, yeah, probably not, but maybe. Anyway, yeah, now let's move on to Redestro's speech, and it's maddening. He's screaming about how Shigaraki is going to be the new commander, how he's going to walk a true path of liberation, how he's giving up his mantle out of deep reverence and necessity, and Jesus Christ, this man is screaming his freaking head off. Anyway, next we meet the Paranormal Liberation Front, which God damn, that's a stupid ass name. I mean, really, that is a stupid ass name. But, whatever. I mean, even Dobby gives the explanation. We remove the villain part and expand on the concept of liberation, I guess. Aye. Anyway, so now we meet these 9 people who are apparently the new lieutenants of the Meta Liberation Army. And that includes Snowman. I call him Snowman. He actually had a name like Gearin or something. I forgot what it was, though. And he actually appears to be a girl, or it could have been like a feminine male. I'm not sure which. Either way, that does definitely screw up my theory that it was going to be Dobby's brother. And there could be a whole brother versus brother fight there. Though this person could still have some relation to Dobby if she ends up being related to Shigaraki's mother. I mean, she had an ice quirk. This girl has an ice quirk. They do kind of look similar, so I mean, that could definitely be. I mean, like I said, I thought that'd be a big, cool twist. Brother versus brother. If it ends up being Dobby versus like his aunt, that could also be interesting. I mean, she has her own reasons to hate Endeavor, and that could lead to some really cool confrontations down the road. But that's just my wild, crazy theory. Let me know what you think about it. And then Shigaraki gives his big speech. We're going to do whatever we want, much to the roaring applause of everyone around him. Anyway, that's when Hawk shows up. And he realized, oh, I should have gotten here sooner. I mean, he's got a body in a bag, which appears to be the body of Best Genius, but I kind of almost certainly 100% doubt that's actually him. I mean, if he did end up doing that, that could be like a really cool, like, split from his character. Like, he still comes off as a hero, a good guy, but he's a killer, just smiling. Like, oh, yeah, the League must end up killing Best Genius. Don't know how they did that. Let's move on. I'm going to keep being the hero I want to be. But I definitely think it's either a corpse that he somehow managed to make look like Best Genius. I mean, Best Genius' mouth is always covered, so it wouldn't be, that hard to make someone look like him. Or he found someone with a quirk that makes, like, puppets that look like dead people. That would actually be a very specific quirk, but I can see a reason why the government would employ someone like that. So yeah, now he's here, and he realizes they're effed up. They are really effed up here. I mean, they have the people basically in control of the internet. Detnerat, one of the most profitable companies in the world, and probably a few more of those high-end no-moves in the wings. And plus just this army of supporters. So essentially, in this superpowered society, the League of Villains, the Paranormal, whatever the hell you want to call them, front, has more power than all the heroes in the world put together. They aren't just a little bit of a threat, they are the main threat. They are the ultimate threat to the entire world. So, yeah, that's problematic. That's very much problematic. Then, another really weird scene. I mean, Redastro, this big, proud, confident man. Splendidly done, sir. Splendidly done, sir. Would you like something to drink, sir, perhaps? Get lost? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on, let's get lost. Let's get lost. I mean, even Trump has to say this is painful to witness. I mean, their explanation for this is essentially that Redastro managed to climb the corporate ladder simply by being an ass kisser, which, I mean, I would assume there was connections to all these other super important people, but yeah, apparently being an ass kisser helps too. Anyway, then Shigaraki collapses. It turns out his wounds are pretty bad. He's honestly barely alive right now. And he's essentially earned the doctor's approval, but the doctor is saying something interesting. I'll grant you power if that's what you desire. I mean, what the hell else would he desire? I mean, if something else he wants is there's some kind of, bad effect to having this power. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, is there some kind of, like, counter effect? You have this power, like, if you have no moves that'll somehow make him weaker, or somehow make him harder for him to live his do whatever the hell you want lifestyle? I'm honestly not sure. Of course, nothing's ever that easy for Shigaraki, for anyone really, with the doctor saying, there's one final task before that. You need to bring me something. Which honestly could be anything. I'm thinking maybe Hawks. I mean, he's here, so it could be that. Could be the body of Best Genius, or maybe All Might himself. That'd be interesting. Trying to use or maybe Deco. Oh, what if the Doctor wants? Oh, no, I was gonna say All for One, but that seems unlikely. I mean, the Doctor could try to want to make a Nomu with the power of One for All, power of All Might, and Deku and all that. That could be interesting, though. I don't think that's likely to happen. Honestly, I'm really not sure what the story is going to be here. I feel like we need another arc before all of this comes to a head. I definitely don't think we're anywhere near, the conclusion. For one thing, Deku still has like 8 more quirks he needs to discover and figure out how to use. I really can't imagine he's going to discover how to use all of them like the final battle. Like it's going to be this marathon fight, and just as his hope seems lost, he's like, oh, I have unlocked a new quirk. Yes, yes, yes. Oh no, hope seems lost. Oh, I unlocked a new quirk. Yes, and just repeat that 6 or 7 times. Seems pretty unlikely. So yeah, definitely something else. I mean, it feels like the League of Villains, again change the name, him or what is this moment, is endgame boss here. But I feel like there's got to be something else before that. At least 1 or 2 more arcs before we're introduced to this new thing. Also, I just really want to see another sports festival, or the UA Sports Festival. I mean, come on, with all their new advanced quirks, new incoming freshmen to compete against, that could be interesting as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Anyway, final scenes with Hawks, who has fans. I mean, they're like, oh, Hawks is here. It's so cool. So, I mean, it makes sense. Hawks has always essentially embodied the Liberation Army philosophy. He wants an easy life where he can do whatever the hell he wants. I'm honestly not sure why he became a hero, if that's what he wants to be, but whatever. I mean, he says that he can't call for backup quite yet because there's still someone else in the background. The Doctor, I'm assuming, he's talking about, but other important figures, other people with connections, and if he calls an Endeavor and everybody right now, for one thing, I think fairly certain they lose. I mean, Giganto is one thing. Shigaraki, I mean, yeah, he's in a lot of pain right now, could barely stand up, but load him up with painkillers, whatever. I'm sure he could at least take out Endeavor. Anyway, so Hawks says, come on, Hawks, you're not quick enough. All of Japan is done for. And I think that's the best case scenario right here, just Japan being done for. I mean, we have the entire freaking world that could be destroyed at this point. That's how freaking powerful they are. So yeah, next week, I actually kind of hope we're done with the villain arc right here. I mean, I'm sure we'll like flash back and forth to it every now and again, but I'd like to go check in on Deku, see what he's doing, how his whole, how they're all reacting to the attack on Detra, the news media saying that maybe it's time to start letting people use their quirks a little more freely than before. Again, there's been some very wide disparity throughout the series on what is actually allowed with a quirk. I mean, in Vigilante, the guy got a ticket for using his quirk, which basically turned him to a bicycle. But the heroes were fine with him using his quirk to fight villains because they considered it self-defense. Which even here they made the whole argument like, oh, they fought the villains, but they just made things worse. That shouldn't be allowed. I'm honestly not sure at this point. But yeah, let me rethink in the comment section down below. Was it actually Best Genius, and will the next chapter continue with Shigaraki, or are we finally gonna see what's going on with Deku? Be sure to like and subscribe. Till next time.
Peace.